Hello, my name is John Boone, and I'm the president of ProFocus Technology. And I am here to share with technology hiring managers how they can recruit and build the best possible teams. And I have been in the technology recruiting business for many, many years, and I've been in staffing for many, many years, and I've worked with hundreds of hiring managers on hiring. And I going to distill the years of knowledge and experience that I have into this very quick seminar for tech leaders and to help them be better at recruiting. And actually, it's team building, not recruiting. So basically, it's what we want to do is build great teams, and recruiting is just one of the tools. And so we talked to you about some philosophies and so forth, and then get into some best practices that you can put to use in improving your recruiting and your team building at your company. So, the number one thing for managers to do is to make sure that they're taking responsibility for building their team. A lot of times we feel that recruiting is someone else's job. Oh, it's the HR department's job, or it's these things, other people's job to do the recruiting, and I'll do the interviewing and selection and so forth. But number one thing is take responsibility for building your team, which includes recruiting. Big part of this is pipelining candidates. You need to have a system for building up your pipeline. And so a good way to do this is just like an Excel spreadsheet or some other document where you actually keep a list of people that you're interested in hiring in the future, and with a little status and so forth. And so you're going to want to have that pipeline, know who those people are, stay in touch with them over time, and hopefully eventually hire those people. And this list will build up for your career, and it'd be a really awesome resource for you. Also, you've got some things to do with best practices with your HR recruiter. So you want to make sure to partner with that person and to make sure you spend the time with them so they understand what you need, and make sure that you respond quickly to them so that they can turn things around for you. There's a psychological aspect of motivation as well for your recruiter, and so that they like managers that help them and that respond to them and answer their questions and so forth, and they'll focus more time and effort with those managers than they do with other managers who are not responsive to them. This applies to if you're using tech staffing as well. So your outside providers are going to be, you want to spend time educating them, making sure you respond to them and answer their questions and things. So you got to keep in mind that that as the manager, you are representing your company and the company's employer brand. And it's very important because word gets around. Oh yeah, I interviewed at that company. I didn't really like them. Or I interviewed there. They weren't very nice there. Or I interviewed there. They were very disorganized. They seemed to be very bureaucratic. These are things that the word gets out on the street about your company based on what you do. So the manager's process is the employer's brand. And so what do we want the process to be? We want it to be friendly, welcoming, professional. We want it to be quick and efficient, and we want it to be thoughtful of the person, and respectful of the person, and we want it to, be exciting. These are all things that we want. So we got to make sure that we're infusing those things in our process as the manager, what we're doing. And then, of course, when you do land that great employee, it's going to fuel your success. You're going to be able to go home earlier if you hire the right person. It's going to save you headaches with all kinds of employee problems that you could have and things like that. You're going to complete projects faster, so you're going to be the rock star. So there's just so much benefit that comes from this. So interesting thing is just to think about, this is for you, the top leaders of the company, or maybe you guys as a team, to think about your company culture and what is it like. Is recruiting even on the leader's radar? Is it on their job description? And does the CIO meet with his people and bring this up and say, hey, how's your hiring coming? What's your pipeline? Is it on the calendar for you guys to get together and strategize about it as a team and so forth? Another interesting one is a lot of companies, managers are disempowered by the recruiting and hiring process. They've got other people telling them what they do and how they have to do it, and they have to go to HR, or they have to use this, they have to use this vendor, or if they're using outside. And so these are disempowering things that really take the wind out of the sails of hiring managers. And the authority, do you give people the authority to recruit and build their teams? Are they allowed to make decisions? Are they allowed to make choices? Are they allowed to do things to get the job done? So a lot of times the bureaucracy will end up taking away the responsibility that a manager should have for building their teams. A good inspiration is a company in Portland, Oregon named New Relic. And they're an awesome company. People love working there. They have a great employer brand. And leaders are there, like software engineering managers, for example. They're responsible for hiring for their teams. And you'll see that the HR department there is in a supporting role, not a primary role in the recruiting process. So they help managers, but they don't take responsibility for it. And so managers are, you'll see, it's interesting, you'll go to networking events and see managers from New Relic and things there. And that's the kind of thing managers need to do. So that's pretty inspiring, and they're doing it right. Even Elon Musk, you think he's the busiest guy in the world running, multiple companies and all the engineering problems that he has and everything. And here he is recruiting for his team. So this is going to be a direct team. And he's recruiting engineers for Giga Berlin. It's a new operation that he was setting up. It's a special engineering task force that basically his team is probably going to manage this team, knowing Elon. And so he's out actually recruiting for that himself, Elon Musk. So it just goes to show. So I want to get you some specific best practices. I already talked about working with your HR recruiter. Just respond quickly, answer their questions, be helpful to them. They will return the favor and help you more. Another really important one is manager outreach. So, that these techies that are out there, maybe a really hot software engineer or, other techie, they may not respond to an HR person or something, but if they get a reach out from the VP of engineering at such and such a company, they're very much more likely to respond. So it's very powerful for the manager to be doing the outreach. And so recommend doing that. Just search LinkedIn and you'll find the people that you think are awesome, and then reach out to them. So make sure you're cultivating that pipeline like we mentioned. And you want to make sure that you are always thinking about who you might want to hire. You do need to network. You got to get out there. You got to go to meetups. You got to go to conferences. You got to go to online forums and things. And then make sure as you're doing that stuff to collect the names, because that's the critical part. Because if you don't collect the names, and you're going to lose touch with those people. So you have to have a system for that. You don't have to say, hey, I'm hiring, you can also just start to network with these people. You talk to see a person that's perfect that you would want to hire or hire sometime in the future, and just suggest a conversation with them and talk, and they'll do it. They'll definitely talk with you, or almost certainly, and then you get to know them, and then you can hire them in the future. And then make sure that you're following up with this network. So you kind of creating this pipeline spreadsheet or document, and then what you're going to want to do is keep in touch with those people and just stay in touch with them on a periodic basis. And then that will put you in the right place at the right time. It's really interesting how, if you have to stay in touch with people, or they won't call you. A number of times where I've talked to people said, yeah, call me if you're looking for a job. And then they take another job and they haven't called me. And it's my fault because I didn't pipeline properly. I should have been in touch with them. If I had been in touch with that person every 3 months, then they I might have been able to hire them myself instead of them going off and taking a different job. So also, it's super important to reduce the cycle time of hiring. So every company, every manager is in a race to hire the person and get a job offer out. And so the slow manager and the slow process is going to lose out in the race. So you have to, if someone sends you a candidate, whether it be an HR recruiter or an outside recruiter, you have to review that resume just right now. It's urgent. You got to check that resume, and if they're good, schedule an interview. And don't schedule it for next week. Schedule it for tomorrow or this afternoon. And You just really have to accelerate these processes if you want the good people, because everybody else, you're in a race against the other managers, and other managers are moving quickly, and they will get the job offer out before you do, and they'll hire that person before you get a chance to. So just thinking about the candidate experience is super important. And so, and as candidates, it seems like a lot of managers don't realize or enough that the candidates have a lot of options. And a lot of times we want to grill those candidates and things like that, and ask them all the questions we have. But we got to remember that they've got questions and they've got needs, and they're trying to find a company that they want to select to work for. And so here's some best practices on that. It's just make sure your job postings aren't generic. Put some more information about the actual job. The manager should be involved in this. It's not just a boilerplate from HR that goes out, so that it's got some specifics. And as candidates are looking for a job, they'll see that and they'll see the specifics, and they'll respond better. So that'll be good. When I say specifics, I mean about the work. Like, what's the project? What's the team like? What's really cool about the team? And not so much this. And of course, you're always going to have the specifics about the requirements and things like that. But what you want to do is kind of paint a picture of what it's going to be like if they work there, and not in kind of like vague, HR / generic language. You want to be real specific. And this is a team of 5 software engineers and 1 QA engineer, and we do agile methodology, and we have a stand up every morning, and then we're super team oriented, and we help each other, and we review each other's code. These kinds of things where it paints a really good picture. Also in the interview, you want to make sure, we all want to ask the candidates a bunch of questions, but we want to make sure that we're catering to the candidate's need for information. They're evaluating the company. What does the candidate need to know? They need to know, like, what's the team like? What's it like working here? What are the expectations and things like that? So one way you can do this is ask them if they have questions and answer their questions. But it can also be good to just go ahead and just tell them what you think that would be helpful for them to know. Then kind of put your sales hat on here. Be a salesperson for your company and for the position and the project, and tell them what the aspects of the job are and what's great about it, and maybe some of the downsides too, so they have the full picture. So you want to really express that you really want them on the team. It's really important to tell the candidate you think they're awesome and that they'd be great. So many managers miss this move, but the candidate wants to be wanted. They want to be recruited. They want to know the manager thinks they'd be great for the job. And so to really, obviously you can't say this if it's not true, but if you really do like a candidate, you should be telling them, and that's a good way to woo them to you. We talked about the hiring process speed already, and the employer brand we talked about as well. So anyway, hopefully this is some great information that will be very helpful for you. I'd be happy to help you answer any questions you have. I help a lot of companies just to improve their hiring process. Of course, ProFocus is a technology staffing company as well. We can help you with the positions. So I will. You've got my contact information here. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming to this short seminar, and you have a great day.